Hey there. I'm just doing this little intro because this is going to be a less in-depth video since I want this to be shown in my Governed Ec class in school, so I do need to keep this on a time limit. I will make videos in the future covering each of these in depth. Also, I memed around a bit in this video to create some humor. Good luck getting the jokes. Okay, so our first economic system we are going to cover is communism. Though there are many branch-offs of communism, such as Stalinism, Maoism, and Trotskyism just to name a few, we are just going to cover this as a general statement. Essentially, communism, according to Cron.com, is putting all of the planning of the economy in the hands of the government. A communist society distributes ownership of property evenly among every member. Because of the immense power of the state, small business is almost non-existent in a communist society. One important contributor to communism was Karl Marx. Marx authored the Communist Manifesto along with his ally Friedrich Engels. Marx believed that liberal society offered workers only the illusion of the freedom of religion and property, as well as that capitalism leads to an elite few controlling the lower classes, in part by giving them token freedoms that still ended up serving the upper class and the bourgeoisie. Another famous and important communist was Vladimir Lenin, who was also leader of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, or Russian SFSR for short, until his death in 1924. Lenin believed that a communist society would need one-party rule to quell chaos in the country and control the economy after a peasant revolution. Our next economic system we are going to cover is socialism. A socialist economy, according to Wikipedia, is characterized by social ownership and operation of the means of production. That may take the form of autonomous cooperatives or direct public ownership wherein production is carried out directly for use. One important person in socialism is Jeremy Corbyn. Corbyn believes that the people who should have the highest taxes in a society are the rich, and has proposed that the Bank of England should be able to spend money on capital spending, house building, etc. Another important socialist is Hugo Chavez. Chavez believed that socialism is about establishing liberty, equality, social justice, and solidarity. Our third economic system that we are covering is liberalism. Liberalism economics includes a spectrum of different economic policies, such as freedom of movement, but its basis is on strong support for a market economy and private property in the means of production. Although economic liberals can also be supportive of government regulation to a certain degree, they tend to oppose government intervention in the free market when it inhibits free trade and open competition. According to Wikipedia, one important liberalist was America's fourth president, James Madison. Madison believed that the US should constitute a future backing of money issues, that he expected to limit inflation and break its connection to the rate of money growth. Another important liberal was Thomas Paine, another American founding father. Paine pushed for economic equality for ordinary Americans, but within a free market.
I dream of Republican town, where men to the right of the aisle don't back down. The streets are aglow with the smell of apple pies, and babies come out of the womb in coats and ties.
Our fourth economic system is conservatism. Conservative economics pays close attention to spending, so that it does not bypass income. They also believe in a mixed market economy, and that there should be enough government intervention. to keep an economy stable. A lot of conservatives are fiscal conservatives, at least economically, which believe in free market capitalism and a limited role of the state in the economy. They generally oppose higher taxes and the welfare state and advocate for deregulation, free trade, privatization, and reduced government spending. One important conservative is Donald Trump. Trump believes in trade protectionism, immigration reduction, individual and corporate tax reform, the dismantling of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, and the repeal of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. Another important conservative is Bob Dole, which believed in a balanced budget amendment to the US Constitution, a balanced budget, tax relief and fundamental tax reform, ending the IRS as we know it, education and job training reform, and regulatory and lawsuit reform.
The money comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah. We'll give it a hearty welcome then, hurrah, hurrah. The men, they'll be my property. If they don't work, I shoot through their knee.
Our fifth topic of economics is anarchism. This portion is going to be a bit different, as there are two types of anarchist economics that I'm going to cover. Anarchist economics is abstention from the state's economic system, for instance, by replacing the use of government money with barter, local exchange trading systems, or commodity money, such as gold. An important anarchist was Max Stirner, who believed that there should be no economy, and everyone should trade with local items. Now the exception to anarchist economics that I mentioned earlier is anarcho-capitalism. Anarcho-capitalists believe that law enforcement, courts, and all other security services would be provided by voluntarily funded competitors such as private defense agencies, rather than through taxation, and money would be privately and competitively provided in an open market. According to anarcho-capitalists, personal and economic activities would be regulated by the natural laws of the market and through private law, rather than through politics. Furthermore, victimless crimes and crimes against the state would not exist. One important anarcho-capitalist is Ron Paul. Paul was an extreme critic of conservatism, openly criticizing the US. Our next to last topic we will be covering is absolutism. Absolutists believe in mercantilism, which is, as described by Philip Wilhelm von Hornig, that every little bit of a country's soil be utilized for agriculture, mining or manufacturing. That all raw materials found in a country be used in domestic manufacture, since finished goods have a higher value than raw materials. That a large, working population be encouraged. That all exports of gold and silver be prohibited, and all domestic money be kept in circulation. That all imports of foreign goods be discouraged as much as possible. That where certain imports are indispensable they be obtained at first hand, in exchange for other domestic goods instead of gold and silver. That as much as possible, imports be confined to raw materials that can be finished in the home country. That opportunities be constantly sought for selling a country's surplus manufactures to foreigners, so far as necessary, for gold and silver. That no importation be allowed, if such goods are sufficiently and suitably supplied at home. One famous absolutist is Henry VIII of England. Henry VIII was such an absolutist to an extent that he founded the Anglican Church, just so he could have an heir with him at the head of the church. Another important absolutist is King Ferdinand II of Aragon. Ferdinand II ended up building his empire of gold and silver through the discovery of America, which he funded Christopher Columbus to do. Our final economic policy is fascism. In fascist economics, Fascists believe in corporatism and class collaboration, believing that the existence of inequality and social hierarchy was beneficial, while also arguing that the state had a role in mediating relations between classes. An important aspect of fascist economies was economic dirigism, meaning an economy where the government often subsidizes favorable companies and exerts strong directive influence over investment, as opposed to having a merely regulatory role. In general, fascist economies were based on private property and private initiative, but these were contingent upon service to the state. One famous fascist was Benito Mussolini, who was also the founder of fascism. Mussolini believed that his home country, Italy, could provide for itself in its empire, which included Libya, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and southern Somalia. Another famous fascist was Sir Oswald Mosley, who believed that Britain was the one true power in the world, and was economically and politically superior to other countries. And that wraps up the general introduction to the economic policies of each major ideology. Thanks for watching.
Hej, 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 sokoły, pomłynajte, chory lisy doły. Dzwin, 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 dzwinoczku, stepowy żal woronoczku. Hej, 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 sokoły, pomłynajte.